That's not the only reason.
So you'll sign
Oh.
up.
Right after we
Yeah.
talk, and then he can.
Get it.
Okay.
Well, I'm Governor of the Fee. I got that
Really good. Okay, sounds good.
I go all the place there.
How you guys?
Good, how are you?
Just talk to. Well, stuff like me in the last school today. 5 minutes, yeah. Yes.
You stay there?
I am so.
The test, you were.
Yeah, he's already sweating about it. I'm like, oh, come on. So when you see it's just like run right out the back, you're just like.
So that's supposed to come with the.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
All right. Report to work for a while, so always happy to be back at it.
Yeah, student shorter problem.
Any changes this year?
It's doing all the same old. Because we're all retired.
There's some up on my screen.
Yeah, you have broken hands and fingers.
You just push things out.
Said it to stay, and I don't want to touch government anymore, because I know the right answers. I know what form of some of those. So.
More of that stuff.
It's a first house, you know?
You do that?
Not the marathon, you're right. My younger brother.
You grow up amazing ways you get away with.
He did, yeah. Sure.
Oh, sure. Get your name actually in.
What's your system?
One and raised.
That's to keep everybody safe from.
You talk to Bill some more?
Still live in Chagrin or you guys live?
No, was there too?
Actually,
Okay.
my wife managed 3 years ago, built a house from. Where Beryl is obviously.
Yeah.
Just right across the freeway from her.
So you're on the east side of 20, okay.
See our house from Highway 20 pretty good. We didn't realize how visible films.
You built it, you're like, wait.
Until we saw it going up.
It's just fine to show up every 2 weeks.
Pretty close to the freeway. Saw that going a bit different.
Yeah.
Like,
Good.
White house and a gray shop. My wife.
See, we figure out where we're at here.
Inspiration off. Oh. Then we see her. Yeah. We like it there, but definitely visible. Plant some trees.
That's where I guess.
Well, I don't know what you do, but I've got you. It's like.
Get a lot of moose through there. We see them all the time.
Moose, deer. Deer every day. See deer. Moose. Maybe,
Oh, wow. Still a lot.
which is still plenty.
I mean, I've had moose in my backyard, but I've only got a couple times.
Pretty domesticated there. Seems like helpful. Moose are startled by, then the deer aren't either anymore.
All right, good evening, everyone. Yeah, oh, there we go. Yeah, good evening. We're glad to have you here. Those of you who are here to witness our city council meeting of August the 29th or 20th, 2025. We appreciate your attendance here and your interest in our community. We'd like to start out our meeting this evening with an opening prayer. I've asked Council President Mike Walker to offer that for us, after which Council Member Brianna Johnson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Walker.
Our Father in heaven, we gathered together this evening as a city council and residents. We'd like to give you thanks for all of our many blessings. Thank you for the opportunity we have of being here and be able to serve the community in this capacity. I see the guide and direct us this night as we go throughout the evening, and we'll be able to address the needs of the community and the concerns. We'll be able to see if we can find solutions for those things. We thanks for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, His atoning sacrifice for us. And bless us that we'll live our lives that will be worthy of the blessings offered through Him. Bless you to be with us this night. Love thee, thy Son, and do the same that loves Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Please stand. I
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. At this point in time, would like to have the roll call of our council members, please. Mariana.
Member John. Here. Councilmember Chambers.
Here.
Ben.
C. She says.
Oh, here.
Okay, Colin is here. All right, thank you.
Member E. Erickson.
Here.
Councilmember Reeser.
Here.
Council President Walker.
Here.
All right, thank you. And all the council members are here. Councilmember Colin Erickson is online with us this evening. Thank you, Councilmember Colin, for being with us tonight on the Zoom call. We'd like to, at this time, item number 3 on the agenda is to welcome a new employee to our Rexburg team. So we'd like to ask Taylor Adamson, who has recently been hired to work in both the sanitation and the streets department, to come up and just introduce himself to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and whatever you'd like us to know.
Taylor Adams, I hired for sanitation and street department. Grateful to be here. I got married to my wife in 22. We love to travel. A lot of time on our roads. I am grateful for this position. The stability and benefits to provide me and my wife and our kids. And truly excited about the chance to grow and learn, contribute. It's important to me that I give my best for the city, contribute the best way that I can. Look forward to the opportunity to be an asset for the city and the people in this district.
Great, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Yes,
Ask him a question.
yes, I guess you
My
can.
middle name is Adams.
Is it?
Are you from Franklin?
No,
Where'd you grow up?
Rigby. My grandparents are from Gooding,
Okay.
Somewhere where we're related.
somewhere along the line. You got the hype part,
There you
but I
go.
didn't get that part.
All right, well, thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Taylor. Welcome to our Rexburg team, and we'll look forward to working with you for many years. So, all right. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mrs. Adamson. What's your first name? Mikkel. Thank you, Mikkel, for being here too. I appreciate that. All right. We'll move on to item number 4, which is time for public comment. This is a time for items that are not on the agenda. And we would ask anyone who would like to address us about any items in the city to come on up and give us your name and address and tell us what you'd like us to know.
First of all, it's a smart move not to admit that you're related to Doug Hansen in public. So that was a good move. And I admire the fact that you're driving your Harleys. Just be very careful. I appreciate you taking the time this evening to hear some public comment. My name is Gerald Griffin. I live in the Sorensen Edition, which is a 3rd East, 3rd South. Some vintage 1960s, 70s homes built just east of the university.
Mhm.
And I am on a little bit of a fact-finding mission. I just wanted to ask a few questions relative to what I noticed Doug was already lobbying up here, so you probably know what this is about. But I think 3rd East is one of the most beautiful streets in Rexburg. It is meticulously cared for, beautiful trees, homeowners that take great pride in their yards. And I have noticed with a little bit of alarm over the past few years that it seems like there are homes. I don't have any facts to back this up. This is just my perception, that are being purchased as rental units for students. And then when the students leave, they're being rented to others. And the homeowners are out of state, and it doesn't seem like those houses are being cared for. And it's become particularly egregious over the past year or two. When I tell people who are visiting me from out of town where I live, I say, you know, I'm just east of the college, but you're going to have to go through a pretty rough part of town to get there, because some of the homes in very strategic areas, actually on the corners, look like they're neglected properties out in the country or something. The weeds are high, the yards are not watered, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm very reluctant to tell other people how to manage their affairs. I'm not going to tell them. They can keep their yard however they want. But I was under the assumption at one point, living here in Rexburg, I've been here for 40 years, that we did have a compliance officer and that there were some ordinances in place that would mitigate this type of thing. Whereas I would not, again, want to dictate to anybody how they should do things. But I think if it gets to the point where it really becomes an eyesore and becomes a detriment to the neighborhood, then if we have a compliance officer, I just wonder if that's a person that we can access. And if we can, what can we request of him? This is in relation to people's yards. And we've also now just this year encountered a dog barking problem, which is just chronic. It starts at about 4:30 in the afternoon and goes all afternoon. And I noticed at one point earlier this week, it went till 10 o'clock at night. Just an absolute incessant dog barking problem. And again, I'm willing to let a lot of this go. I've closed windows. I've said, try to be a good neighbor. But I just wondered what our options are on a thing like this. Do we have a compliance officer, and do we have ordinances in place? That's my question.
Yes, and the answer is yes, we do. We always, you know, there's always that fine line, just like you said, about, you know, getting too involved in people's business and telling them what to do.
Sure.
I'm kind of like you, obviously. I like nice yards.
You're a
and,
landscaper.
I would like to see people keep them nicely done, but there are some folks who don't care about them as much as I do or you do, and that's not what they want to do on the weekends or whatever. But I think there needs, I mean, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think there needs to be some sort of a minimum level of care or standard that needs to be kept so that it doesn't become, my philosophy has always been, I'm not going to tell you what to do unless it becomes a problem for me or someone else around you. You know, if it becomes a problem for your neighbor, then it's a problem. So that's kind of the philosophy that I've always tried to take, and sometimes it does become a problem.
But beyond philosophy, is it codified anywhere? I mean, is there
We
anything?
do have nuisance ordinances. Yeah,
Okay.
brought that up.
And that can be accessed on the city website?
Yeah, noxious weeds.
Okay.
And weeds is kind of the main thing that we have so far. Just because, noxious weeds are actually a violation of state law. You're not supposed to have noxious weeds on your property.
Okay.
And they can be, especially if they're getting too thick and too tall, they can be a fire hazard for the neighborhood. So
Okay.
it can be a safety.
So is there someone we can call? Is there a number we
Yes.
can call?
Just call our front desk, City Hall in Mariana.
Okay.
Right there can direct you to the proper person. She is our compliance officer, and
Mariana.
can actually, yeah, Natalie is.
Sorry.
Natalie.
And if it's, depending on the situation, like the barking dog that is a nuisance, that would probably be something that could even be called into the police and have a police officer respond.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's done it yet, but it's been going on for
Yeah.
weeks.
Is also.
In there.
Now, there's one
disturbing
other
piece.
aspect of this. I noticed there's been several motorhomes that have been parked for long periods of time, and actually a giant semi-truck thing too that's parked. And I wondered that goes against.
Yes, there also are laws.
Okay.
Or ordinances that you can only have certain things parked on the street for, I think, 48 hours at
Okay.
most, or something like that.
Okay.
In the case of the motorhomes, and the big trucks are not supposed to be there for very long either. So
Okay.
yeah, yes.
Live on Yale Avenue, and a neighbor down the street from me. He likes to curb cars, as you know what I mean. So he's buying cars and parking down the street to sell them. And where he's doing that, it's hard to get around. He's got so many cars stuck in his front yard. Can he operate a business out of his house?
No, in a residential neighborhood, it shouldn't be operating a business unless it's there's a few home businesses that are allowed, like a beauty operator or something like that. But anything that kind of spills out onto the street, I guess, is sort of how is not allowed.
When I approach about that,
Same thing, just call in and ask for our compliance officer, and she'll visit with you about it and
Within
get
our
the fix.
nuisance, it specifies abandoned or essentially cars being parked. And it goes through and specifies.
Yeah,
You want quick action there and call the Idaho Transportation Department. They'll get you with their regional guy, if you think he's really curbing cars.
They told me about it.
I was gonna say they can't have that license.
Yeah.
That, don't they?
Yeah,
Well,
the
I don't think he's
transportation
got a
department
license.
come down.
He's got working in Merrill Randall's old house.
yeah,
It'll be.
Yeah.
Put all the stuff in.
yeah. There's things you can do to help curb those kind of activities and stuff. So
I appreciate your time very much. Thank you for listening to me. Is there anything that I've said that you have a question about?
any questions for Jerry?
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
And these folks are with me.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I've had this same issue with the dog barking.
Yeah.
The police are very receptive to that.
Okay.
Oops, sorry. They'll be there. They come out, they'll sit there and listen for, I think it's, I don't know, like 15, 20 minutes. And if that dog's still barking, they'll go to the door, they'll do whatever they can. So the police department's been very, very responsive.
Advise having them make the initial contact or going over, I just assume resolve it myself but you hate to, It's a fine line that you walk, really.
Yeah.
So it's in the next block. It's not one of my immediate neighbors, but the backyard backs up to 3 or 4 of them.
If you feel comfortable talking to them and saying, hey, you know, I really, you know, this is really bothering. And yeah, I mean, you can do that. And sometimes that's a better approach, you know, that kind of a thing. Yes.
Thank you.
We have Karen Webster here,
Uh-huh.
and she has a neighbor problem.
Okay. Come on up, Mrs. Webster.
Very safe for us to be sitting.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen of the council,
Mrs. Webster, can you pull that mic down just a little bit so we can hear you?
I'm Karen Webster. I live at 309 Yale Avenue. My yard is done by Merrill's. Oh, I have a great yard. That's not the issue. The issue is, for me, the houses across the street from me were wonderful homes built by the fathers of our community. And now they've been bought and they're all rentals. And they, instead of one family living in these beautiful homes, there's 4 or 5. And each one of these kids has got a car and no parking for them. You can't drive up East 3rd South because there's cars on both sides of the road. Now, my question is, when someone buys these houses, do they have to come in and ask what the deal is to live in Rexburg? I mean, do they have to say, do I pay property taxes? Are there any covenants in the city, the place that I'm living? Or can they just come in and tear the place up and rent it and put 4 or 5 kids in a house? Can they do that?
They are allowed to, if it's long-term rentals, then that is allowed in LDR1 zones, LDR1 and LDR2, which are low density. They're not allowed to do short-term rentals unless.
Wouldn't that be college kids? And isn't that a business for somebody that's bought a house?
Well, no, it's not classified that way. A short-term rental is classified as anything 30 days or less.
I understand.
Yeah.
So there's basically nothing we can do about this parking and.
Well, there is, I think there's, yeah, go ahead.
In our development code updates, weren't we just talking about how many,
Parking.
did we say 4 people could be we put a cap on it
Yeah.
of how many, do you remember what it was?
Be in a,
We haven't voted on it yet, but we're getting ready to.
yeah, we did
Remember.
talk about that and it seemed like we had some parking restrictions as well.
Because we did recognize that, especially with campus saying that after
Yeah.
your,
Well, that's another question that I'd like to ask. When on earth are they going to stop all this growth in Rexburg? I mean, now they're calling for people to let kids come into their homes and live because there's no housing for all these kids that are coming in. You can't drive down the streets of Rexburg because if you hit it at the half hour or the hour, you wait in line, and that's not Rexburg, you guys. Come on, this is our little community. I've lived here since 1954. I love this community.
We all love it and that's the problem. Everybody loves it a little too much.
Well,
Everybody wants to come here.
at least give them some rules. If
Yeah.
you're going to
Well,
come
there-
in,
There are some
this is
rules.
what you
and,
got to do. You've got to mow and water those yards.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, there are some rules and some of those are some things that we probably need to take a look at. Maybe
Yes.
doing a little more enforcement if it's within our parameters to do so. But on the other hand, we have to, we always walk that fine line of how much government is too much, right?
If you want to live in our community, water your yards.
Yeah, well,
We don't want
I
that trash.
totally agree with
I
that.
live on Yale Avenue, right on the corner of Yale.
Mhm.
Now, I don't even know my neighbors, so I'm not complaining about my neighbors, but That yard of his has been that way for 5 years. And it looks like it belongs out of the sand hills.
Oh, yeah.
There's been nothing done for 5 years in that yard. And it's my property value is going down the hill because nobody's going to buy my house if I need to. And I'm so old, it'll probably go up for sale one day. I don't want to live next door to that garbage dump.
It,
Is
it
there
does cause,
It's about that.
they're tough. It's tough we've talked about that before, actually, of some minimum standards because of the effect it has on neighbors and neighborhoods and things like that. But legally, it's fairly difficult for us to get too involved in how much people water their
Well-
yards, or, unless it becomes, like I said, so many weeds that it becomes a fire hazard or something like that.
Well, I invite all of you to go drive up Yale Avenue. And to get there, you're going to be appalled at what you see. If you drive from this spot right here up and go to Yale Avenue, you will be sad to see
Yeah.
the neglect
It
that
probably,
people are thinking they can get away with. And my neighbors, I know they're lovely people, and I know that there's some, so they've got some legal problems that are going on. I know that, and I don't want to interfere with that. But at least go on and pick up the trash that you're letting sit on that dirt pile.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I thank you for letting me speak because I fussed over this lawn and weeds. And I need to get it off my chest. So thank you for listening to me. And I
Welcome.
wish there was something that we as a community can do because Rexburg's too special to let it go to pieces.
Well, thank you.
And
We
it
appreciate
is, if we don't get our finger on some rules, that when you move in, there's rules.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much,
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate your family and all you've done for this community over the many, many years. Yeah, honestly, I think it would be good for all of us council members to take a little tour, whether it's on our own or we organize something and kind of drive up and down some of the streets and see some of these areas that they're talking about, as well as other areas. And we might need to have some more conversation about, minimum standards or something like that. But did you have something else to add, Mr. Hensey?
Order and pulled up 6 addresses in our neighborhood where things are just intolerable. And Karen's.
Well, if you'd like to submit those, we can have our compliance officer take a look at those and,
Somebody wants to take a drive.
yeah.
We're all in 5 minutes.
Yeah, give those to Deborah if you would, please. Yeah. We'll let everybody know so they can check it out. Okay, thank
Just,
you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
sorry.
Comments, go ahead.
Along with that, I've had 2 separate light complaints from 2 individuals. One that happens to be, wasn't my mother that did the complaining, but it's up in about where she lives, and then one other that that I've got to agree. There's got to be some sort of a minimum maintenance, level to some extent. I don't know what it is, but maybe it would be worth taking a look at other ordinances in other cities to see what there is out there and see if there's something we can do and I think it's probably more this time of year. We got a long, hot summer. If you're not watering your place, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just something that I think we ought to take a look at.
All right. Well, thank you for that input. Any other comments or questions from anyone? Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. We appreciate your comments. Okay. And you don't have to leave. You're welcome to stay. Yeah.
But I gotta go home and open each.
You got to go home and pull some weeds? All right, thank you. Okay, let's move on to item number 5A, which is our committee reports. And let's go ahead and just start down here with Councilmember Johnson, and we'll move on down the line.
Thanks, Mayor. I don't have anything new. Our committees haven't met since
Okay.
last month.
Okay. Let's see. Just just, let's see, you're on Parks and Trails, right? You and Councilman Erickson. I will just report to you that we had that Wilcox Logging come in with their big machine and pick up all of the big piles down at Eagle Park.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
And it, you know, as part of that, of course, that's a big machine with the big old cat tracks on it, and it did kind of knock out some of the trails, which, you know, Mr. Isaacson was pretty distraught about. But thanks to quick response from our, you know, our group that does the mitigation work that has been down there, I called Rob Ricks, and he brought him down off of a job that the one they're working on up east of town the next day. And along with Keith's people from the streets department, they brought a bunch of bucket loads of topsoil over there, and along with some of our streets people and the fire people, we rebuilt the trails and got them all back into good shape. And I actually got a text message from Eric that said the kids are pretty excited because some of the things we built are actually bigger and better than what they were before. So he was pretty appreciative of that, because they had a guy from Australia coming that next Monday to kind of see their course and how they practice and all that. And so he was pretty distraught about that, because he was leaving to go to scout camp that week, and he wasn't going to be around to be able to work on it. So anyway, he was very grateful, and I just appreciate our team that jumped on that and got it done for him, taken care of. So
That's great.
So they did
And
a
do you know the goats? I know he was concerned about that.
Yeah,
shutting down
yeah,
the
we-
entire park for
Uh-huh. Yeah, we talked about that quite a bit, and we met with the goat people down there at the park the other day, and kind of mapped out how we wanted them to do the work. They said they felt like they just fence off little sections at a time, and so they felt like they could work around the trail areas and not. They said they don't care if people are riding by the goats.
Really
They
good.
don't bother the goats.
Okay, that's great.
Somebody suggested we might have a lot more people down there just to go watch the goats, and we also went out to a place where the goats are actually feeding right now, where they're working on some private property out west of town, and looked at what they do, and they do a pretty good job. They clean it down, and they may eat some things that we don't necessarily want eaten, but those things, I mean, like the smaller flowers and things, I think those will grow back next spring. It'll just be like they got pruned, kind of. They said they can fence off there were some trees that we thought, well, we really don't want them to just eat those right to the ground, you know, because they're just starting to grow. They're about yay big. So they said they could fence some of those off. Yeah, they're pretty good to work with. They really are. They're pretty willing to do what we want done, and kind of try to save the things that we don't want eaten down and that kind of thing. So I think it'll work out pretty well.
That's good. So the trails won't be closed then in September?
No.
Okay, that's great.
No, they said they could fence around those. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the pavilion and the grass area in the front will remain open as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Good.
And then they even said if people want to walk down the road, they don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, we are going to close off the road to vehicle traffic. But if people want to walk their dogs and stuff like they normally do, that'll be fine.
Oh, that's really good.
Or jog, you know, people that run down there and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're trying to keep it, you know, as accessible to people as we can, and, you know,
I
kind of
think that's great.
kind of multitask, I guess you'd say. Yeah. So, okay. Let's see, Council President Walker.
Neither one of my committees have met. Mayor's Youth Advisory Board will probably meet within the next couple of weeks. The school getting ready to start, but the ADA board, they haven't met yet, so.
They did have, the Mayor's Youth Group did have a booth over at Celebrate Youth yesterday, and they signed up a few new people, and you know, they had a game going over there, and they were doing a good job over there. So yeah, it looks like we'll have a good group this year. So, okay, thank you.
I have.
Councilmember Chambers.
I know Urban Renewal met today and I was not able to attend. Is there anything there to report, Mayor? Otherwise, I don't have anything.
There is actually, and maybe I'll go ahead and just report that. And right now I was going to save it till for the mayor's business, but maybe since you brought it up, I will report that the Alpha Development Group that was the development group that was going to work on our downtown project. They've had some organizational changes and stuff, and so they have actually backed out of the project. So we're planning to reissue a new RFP. And some of the folks that replied to the last one, of course, are welcome to talk to us again about that, as well as there's been a few new developers, some kind of local developers that have expressed an interest in it too. So we're gonna put that back out there for them to consider and look at. We also are we tendered a new offer for the school district property, which they will be meeting on tomorrow night. The school board will be meeting on tomorrow night, and so we'll see how that goes. If they accept that offer, then we'll probably put our focus really on that from the urban renewal.
And I know if they reject our offer, we've requested a face-to-face meeting.
Yes,
to
that's correct.
discuss.
That's correct. So that we can work out any differences or whatever. So trying to keep the lines of communication open on that and, get some things going. So, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Councilmember Eric Erickson.
Well, you've covered parks pretty much except for, I visited with John today a little bit about the pickleball courts, which seem to be dragging on and on and on. And I guess they finally, or at least he feels like maybe they've got a commitment to the first of September.
That's what they said. Yeah,
if they get a contract signed, which they haven't signed yet. So hopefully we'll, we might get some pickleball before snow flies.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, one good thing is that, the other courts, of course, were finished, and as far as the new surface, it looks good. People have appreciated that, as well as the fencing around it, the netting that we put around it. It kind of cuts down on the wind. They've liked that too. It cuts down on the noise a little bit too. The lady that lives back behind texted me and said she really appreciates that because she feels like it's not as noisy as it used to be with that what do we call that stuff that we put around the fence? It's kind of a shade cloth, but anyway, yeah, it's a material. But anyway, yeah. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Reeser?
None of my committees have met, so I don't have anything to report on that, but I do know that school is starting on Monday for the kids anyway, and I did get a concern through my principal at the high school and Keith, maybe you know about that. I don't know if Brady Clausen contacted you, but he got a message that the flashing lights on 7th south of the university weren't working. Somebody had emailed him or texted him about that, and they were concerned because school's going to be starting soon. And I suggested he give you a call, and maybe he got caught up in the meetings and stuff that we've been having the last couple of days. But if just want to check on that.
Lights. Now, which lights?
Those flashing crossing signals, you push the button and they go. The pedestrian crossings.
Okay.
Where?
He showed me the text messages and it wasn't terribly clear, but it just said on 7th South. Would it be down there all the way, you think? I was kind of thinking more around the middle school.
So we got some at the middle school and then we got some at Burton. So we'll just look at both.
Okay. Yeah,
let's make sure.
Just to be aware so we can keep an eye on that. But other than that, nothing new to report.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Councilmember Colin Erickson, do you have any committee reports?
Most of it's just been brought up just barely about the school. Celebrate Youth was a great success yesterday. There was just some slight miscommunication on the garbage for the city that we're kind of addressing. But other than that, everything's ready for school to be starting. I did get some complaints on that 7th South. I believe it's the one at 12th West, Keith, if you can look into that. On the golf board and the airport board, they canceled the meetings till next month. So that's all I have to bring up at this time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, thank you all very much. Appreciate that, and all of the work that you do on all of the different things we have going on. Okay, we will move on then to item number 6, which is our 6A is our information technology update and some items from Mr. Todd Smith.
Good evening. We have a couple of agreements with Silver Star that we need to look at and get signed if you're agreeable to that. We actually have, including these two, there's 3 total agreements with Silver Star. One of them that we did early last year, end of the year before, is an IRU. It's an indefeasible right to use. That's their right to use our backbone, that main fiber ring that we built. So they're using that. So that agreement's already in place. And now as we're getting close to the end of the rest of this project, we have these 2 additional agreements that we need to put in place as well. So this first one, this fiber maintenance agreement, is basically Silver Star is agreeing to maintain the huts, the fiber huts, the generators that are associated with those huts, and perform locates on the fiber, those types of things. Basically just maintain that existing infrastructure. We will retain ownership of the huts and the generators, but they're going to maintain them because other than the parks department and the golf department, they have exclusive use of those facilities as part of the IRU agreement. So this one is basically just their agreement to maintain those facilities to our standards. And then this other one, the telecommunications services agreement. So this one is basically our agreement with them to use the internet. So each of these city assets that we're taking fiber to, there's about 80 of them on our list. That includes traffic signals and buildings and lift stations and well sites and all these different things. There's about 80 different sites. It'll cost us about $30 a month for the internet service to those locations. We'll also share in the cost of fiber to new locations that we do. So if there's a new lift station or a new building or whatever it happens to be, then we'll share in the construction of that provision of that fiber. And trying to think, it also includes a 10 gig internet connection to City Hall, which we've been using for a couple of months now. Just to put some context in that, from Silver Star, we've had a 300 meg connection, 300 megabits. It's 300 meg down and 50 megabits up, so it's not even symmetrical. We also have another connection with Blackfoot that we've been using. That's about an 800 meg connection. And so all said and done, I mean, we're currently is like whatever that is, 1.2 gig. And now we're going to have a 10 gig connection. The price for that, the $850 a month that they're charging for, that's actually a really good deal. I was doing some research on some other commercial and government connections at that speed, and they usually run in the $5,000 to $7,000 a month range. So it's a killer deal for us at $850 a month. We'll still retain the Blackfoot connection as a backup as well. So that's not going away. I don't know, questions about any of this, what we're doing?
Anyone have any questions about it?
With so you have the Blackfoot and the other internet
Silver Star,
providers,
Blackfoot.
those will go away.
So we currently have a connection with Silver Star and we currently have a connection with Blackfoot. So both of those are changing. So the Silver Star one will go from that 300 meg connection to this 10 gig connection. And then the Blackfoot one is also changing slightly. The internet service will stay the same, but we're changing our telephone service with them. So we're changing from an analog PRI circuit to a digital SIP or SIP trunk. And so our cost for Blackfoot connections will actually go down about, I can't remember, $500 or $600 a month. But the providers will stay the same, but the services are changing. I guess
I guess my question is, are we paying for 2 separate internet connections?
We do, yes.
Is there a reason for that? Can we not use the same connection
Yeah.
Because it's large enough to handle it?
Both of them are ample for whatever we're doing, right? But it's a failover, a backup. So if Silver Star were to go down for some reason, then all of our traffic will fail over to the Blackfoot circuit and vice versa, right? So it maintains our uptime and keeps us functional. Yeah.
Okay, back up, yeah. Okay, any other questions? Yes.
I just had a question, for them to maintain the huts, how much is that? What's the fee on that?
There is no fee
Oh.
for them to maintain the huts unless you want to include that in the $30 a month we're paying for all the other drops and all of that stuff. It all kind of wrapped in together. Their use of the hut is tied into that initial IRU agreement that we did a couple of years ago. The maintenance of the huts is built into this one. So, but there's actually no fee directly associated with the huts.
And
or
it's
the
really
generators
to
for that matter.
their advantage as well as ours to maintain them well because their service depends on it, right?
It is in their best interest, yes.
Yeah.
So
So,
their revenue depends on it.
hey, any other questions?
A question.
Yeah.
Todd, this is a 5-year contract. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So are these rates that they're giving us in the contract, are they assuring that there's no increases over that 5-year?
Yeah, I think that's what it says, is that the rates are locked in for those 5 years and they reserve the right to increase those at the renewal periods.
Cool.
They've also agreed to give us notice. I can't remember the exact length, but sufficient that we would be able to build that into our budgets if there's a change. Yeah.
And those would, of course, be negotiable fees, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Any further questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve this agreement. We probably ought to do these separately. Let's do number 1 first. Is there a motion to approve this telecommunications services agreement with Silver Star?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve the telecommunication agreement with Silver Star Communications.
All right, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Eric Erickson. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Motion passes. Item number 2, the fiber maintenance agreement with Silver Light Fiber Network. Is there a motion for that one?
Mr. Mayor, I so move that we accept the fiber maintenance agreement with Silver Star.
All right, well, let's go with Silver Light Fiber.
Silver
Network.
Light, so.
Yeah, I don't know if they delineate those, but they're written differently.
They
so-
are the same. So Silverlight, Silver Star, they're essentially the
Okay.
same company.
Yeah, okay, all
Silver
right,
Light.
thank you. Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Johnson. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. We will go ahead with those agreements. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Todd. We appreciate your work on that, as well as all your work on this whole project. It's been a big one. All right. Item number B is our finance report with our CFO, Mr. Matt Nielsen.
All right, good evening. I'm just gonna, before I jump into the finance reports, just want to give you a couple quick updates, just so it's on the record. Because we have emailed a few things back and forth on some of these third readings. And so I want to update you on that. So on the Rexburg Police Facility bond that would be third read tonight, as Deborah and I kind of gave a last look through on that, in section X at the end, we noticed that we had left the term 30 years and we had changed all the other terms to not exceed 15 years. So we just want you to know we updated that to match the 15 years, just so that you understand that's part of that as you third read that tonight. And then on the ordinance for the fiscal year 26 budget, I had sent you an email. And then since that email, I've been able to go through what we call the L2 or certification process for property tax. And so basically that would be read at a total now of 111,279,400. I do want to note a couple things. The general fund contingency would go down to about 80,900. And then the property tax that we would be certifying would be 7,290,000. And so it just gives you an idea where we landed on that. And we knew that we would have to make some modifications in those two numbers because you're kind of estimating it until you go through that certification process. And so I just want you to be aware of that we've updated that. And then I think you guys had discussion in your last two meetings kind of about the July 3rd 250th anniversary celebration. To make it full disclosure, we went back to what I would say is the status quo, which is just basically a similar to budget to what we've had for probably the last, well, since COVID, really, since we started doing the fireworks. So probably 4 years at least. So I just want you to know that as well. So any questions on those updates?
Any questions from anyone?
So the reason that our contingency went down is because we're bringing in less property tax money, right?
Well, the reason
Basically.
why is I always estimate high when I published it. And then it was about 45,000 or something like that less when we certified. So I reduced it, and then I had to reduce on the other side as well. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And you always want to be high when you advertise it because you can't certify more than what you advertised. And so we learned that lesson the hard way once and had to republish, hold another public hearing. It's just not worth doing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. And then on the reports, I'll be fairly quick. So Deb's got the first one. That's good. The cash one. Just a couple things as Scott and I went through and analyzed this. So we're sitting with our cash and investments, right around 54 million. Couple things I wanted to just bring up. We did some analysis just to kind of see what our interest earned overall in every fund was last year compared to what we're projecting this year. And we're going to be right there, almost exactly the same number. And so to give you guys an idea, interest earned was about 1.85 million is what we're projecting for this year. And last year was 1.81 million. So that's about a 3.43% overall return, which makes sense because we don't invest all of the money. We have to keep liquid numbers as well for our cash flow purposes. And then a couple of things I want to just mention on it. We're going to continue probably to try to reinvest where we can in that 2 to 4 year ladder. We're probably going to get a little more aggressive about that, just because we really do think the interest rates will continue to drop. And so we just want to preserve that larger return over that 4 year period, if that makes sense. And to give you guys some perspective, the 1 to 5 year on agencies and treasuries that we reinvest in is right between 3.7 to 3.9 right now. Anything we invest in under 9 months, we're typically 4 to 4.3%. So there's not a huge difference. And so anyways, that kind of gives you an idea where we're at. Another thing I want to note is we were pretty high at the end of July in our checking, and that was simply because of the day we deposited the property tax, happened to be at the end of the month. And so we received our final large payment of property tax in the general fund for about 2.34 million. And then what you'll commonly see, and I state this every year, just so you guys are aware, we will start to expend more than we'll bring in for probably until about January. And so that's the typical trend. And so we just have to manage our cash flow through these months.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. 5% is what you show in the checking account. It's typically less than that, I'm assuming.
It is
quite a bit
typically
less.
quite a bit less. Yeah. Yeah. And it was just simply because, and to be honest, we booked it. We're showing you what we booked in our general ledger. It didn't hit on the bank statement until the following day. And so we're always trying to keep that under the FDIC limit. That's what we're trying to do. You can't always do that because when you have a $1.5 million check run, you got to have the money there for when those checks clear, right? And so it's always a fine balance. And then, of course, we like to move it into the LGIP when we can get a 4.4% return, which is what they're averaging right now. And so we're pretty aggressive about keeping it in the LGIP so that we're getting that return. And then also being under the FDIC limits. So, okay. Any questions on that one?
Any other questions from anyone?
Okay, on the treasurer's report, basically we're reporting to you through 10 months of the fiscal year. So this is through July. So as you look at like what's spent, you know, the target that you're kind of watching there is the 83%. So if you're way above that, you know, those would be things that I would maybe be like, okay, I have a question on that. As I went through it, sanitation department was quite high, and we know that is because of that shop capital project. It did come in a little higher than what we anticipated in the budget this year. And then a couple of things I want to note. So we've been working with the fire department as they transition their employees to the fire district. They had asked us if we would pre-fund for next year. We had that conversation. We're not going to actually pre-fund operations like they asked. What we are going to do is we're going to close out some of these funds. And so like a fire station building fund or the joint fire equipment fund, we're going to simply try to close those out before October 1st, and then they'll be able to manage their own cash flow with that. And then, of course, they have access to the fire district as well. So we're just working through that process. I think we did the closeout last month on the ambulance capital replacement fund. And then another couple things for you to just kind of keep note of is if you do pass the new utility fees in September, then, you know, next year we'll start closing out the community safety lighting fund as well. And so those are probably the big things that I would mention. Overall, we've spent 49%. And so that's my report on the treasurer's expenditures, unless you guys have additional questions.
Can you tell us how the transition's going with the?
Yeah. I think it's going good. It's a lot of work. I think that we're slowly moving towards some of those targets, but I think that there'll be a lot to do in the next 2 months. Let's say that. And so, but I think the big things will be fine. What we've done on the accounting side is I've went through, I sent an email this week to my staff. If we get expenses that are supposed to fall into fiscal year 26, I've designated a liability and a receivable account. And I basically said, you just book it there. And then at the end of the month, we'll go do an invoice and we'll tell them what they owe us for, and we'll do a payment for whatever we owe them. And there's going to be some of those things for at least through that first quarter for sure. So we have a good plan in place. We should be pretty solid tracking that. And then we're helping them with, you know, their requests. They request quite a bit of information. And so, yeah, I think it's moving. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item number C, our Public Works report with our Public Works Director, Keith Davidson. Actually, we're going to skip item number 1, right? We'll
bring that one probably to
later.
the next council meeting on that.
Okay.
We're going through that.
Let's go to item number 2.
As we do. So item number 2 is we received a grant to look at our wastewater treatment plant for power supply, looking at ways that we can better utilize that, or when we do have some areas at our plant that aren't backed up with generators. And so we have a contract with SKM for $180,000. And so we're seeking council's approval to enter into that contract with SKM.
Okay. Is there any questions about this item before we move forward on it?
Is this an ongoing thing, something that we do annually?
No. So this is a grant that we receive, a BRIC grant. And so we have I think it's a $45,000 match that we got to do with that. So,
And this is to study?
Yeah, and then come back with a design for the upgrades that we need to do.
So basically what I mean, the purpose of this is it says treatment plant power reliability improvements. So we're going to we're gonna study what needs to be improved and upgraded, kind of a thing, to have reliable power there.
Yep. Yeah, so that's the plan, is to kind of go through the whole plant, look at the areas that we need to upgrade, and then they'll give us some design with that. And then that way we could budget in the project or look for other grants to help fund that.
Help with the construction.
Yep.
So this particular one is for the study and the design?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. If there are no other questions on that, I would entertain a motion to move forward on item number 2.
Mr. Mayor, excuse me. I make a motion that we approve the design contract for SKM Engineering in the amount of $180,000.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Reeser. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We will go ahead and move forward with that. Item number 3.
Yeah, the third item that I have on here is we've received a grant, Safe Streets for All grant, and that's to do a comprehensive safety action plan for the community. We selected Keller Associates on that, and so we have a contract with them for $240,000. Part of this grant is we're going to be doing $60,000 worth of in-kind work with this grant, and so we're seeking approval from council to enter into this contract with Keller Associates and get started on that safety improvement.
Maybe can you elaborate on that just a little bit too for the council on like what kind of things are we going to be
Yeah, so what they're going to do is they're going to go through and look at all the accident data. LTAC has a good comprehensive website that shows all the different accidents, and they're going to look for those areas that have high risk areas where we've had severe accidents, and then they'll look at the design improvements for those. We'll probably select like 20 sites with that, and then they'll look at doing a kind of a parcel design up there so we can look and see which ones are going to be best. There's about 100,000 we have to look at the design side of that. And so
So the outcome of this would be things like if they determine a particular intersection needs 4-way stop or needs a signal light or needs something else, or that's the kind of thing we get out of this?
yeah, there might be different improvements, and I've got Nathan here from Keller, but they'll take a look at those and see what improvements are going to be best at those locations, right? So there could be some things that maybe you want to look at traffic calming, right? And so you might have bulb outs, or you could look at, a particular intersection. There's lots of different safety improvements you could look at that would be beneficial for that intersection. So yes, it could be, a 4-way stop. Now we're going to look at warrants and look at level of traffic that go with that. But those could be some of the things. It could be crosswalks, could be bike paths, it could be a number of things, but they're going to take a look at all that traffic accident data and then make some recommendations and look for those 20 spots. And we'll bring that back to council so you guys can kind of see that. We have a kind of an oversight committee that's going to sit on that, and we'll look at those as they get that data back in. We'll have conversations with Keller on that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, if there are no questions, I would entertain a motion to move forward on item number 3.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with Keller for the Safe Streets for All grant.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Council President Walker. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We will go ahead with that. Okay.
Mayor, just a question.
Yes.
As I read through that, it looks like there's this committee, that will be organized to run things past, I guess. It looks like city council members are involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? That's not been designated yet.
No, it's not been finalized, but if there's people that want to be on that committee, definitely we're welcome to be on it.
Okay.
Is there anyone that, right off the bat that would like to be included on that? And we're welcoming, interested parties.
Raise my hand if you'd like.
Okay, any others?
I would be too.
You would? Okay. All right, there's two
If you want one more, I can be on it.
and there's three. So there you go.
Perfect. Now we good.
Okay, all right, and I'm just pausing for a second to sign these agreements that we just passed because the gentleman would like to be able to take those and leave, so I'm gonna.
So I
sign
have
those.
one, while you're signing that, Mayor, I have an
Okay,
update on
go ahead.
the,
Yeah, go ahead.
the railroad crossing. So we were able to finally get in contact with the railroad company. They're looking at that preemptive for the signal on Trejo in Yellowstone somewhere after the 16th of September. So middle to end of September, getting that in. So unfortunately, the students will be back,
The
but
students get back, yeah.
but at least I've gotten a little better date on it. So
Can I ask Keith a
Now you're the
question?
mayor.
Is that okay, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Did you know yet when, I know I had asked about an update on the CUP on 12th West. Do you know yet when we can hear what those conditions are actually going to be and who's having them on the timeline for it?
yeah, so we got the update on that. We're going through the costs that they had submitted on that with them right now. So as soon as we get those worked out, then we can bring that back to council. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments, items for Keith? From anyone?
I got one. How's the, there on Fifth South, or sorry, Fifth West? Where were we doing the street?
Uh-huh.
How's the timeline doing on that and Second South?
First South?
First South, I'm sorry, First South.
Yeah, so they're moving along. I don't have the exact date. I know they're trying to go through and finish up all the concrete on Fifth South, and then they don't have a firm date on when the paving side of HK will come in and pave that yet. But I know they're going through and trying to get all the concrete finished up on that probably in the next week or so. On First South, they're moving forward. So we have that on Second West. I'm sure you all noticed, right? Going down the single lane. So we've got to do, because we're redoing that sewer line in First South, they've got to do the bypass pumping. And so in order to do the bypass pumping, that's why we've got to be into Second West there because of how the lines come together. And so we got to bypass that. Hopefully, they should have the manhole, I think, built by Friday, and then they're hoping probably middle to end of next week, they should be out of Second West with that bypass pumping, and then they can just kind of move down First South with that.
I know I went over to one of the businesses, the restaurants there after Celebrate Youth, and they were asking me about how long all of that was going to be out there on Second West, and which, is a concern for them. But I noticed as I was there watching, looking out the windows and walking around there, that they do have those ramp things over so that they can get in and out of the businesses, and that seems to be working pretty well. So, and they've got some signs up that says all businesses are open, and it looks like they've tried to mitigate that as much as they can. So I think they're doing what they can to work through it and get it done as quickly as possible so that we can get those all out of the way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, unfortunately, construction has impacts, but
Yeah,
try to
it
mitigate
does.
them the best we can.
Yeah.
Keith,
Okay.
are you gonna have, or have you got plans to do Park Street still?
Yeah,
Yes.
so that'll be later. We wanted to try and get those areas around campus done as
Okay.
quickly as possible, and then we'll be moving over to Park Street.
Have you decided if you're just gonna do I can't remember what you call that?
The crabs portion of it.
Yeah.
I gotta remember that one. I'll get back with you on that one. I don't think we were doing I'm trying to remember if we were bringing in the crabs on that one, but that would be a prime one for it, but I gotta double check that.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Hey.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Mayor,
Yes.
Oh,
I have one thing for Keith. Did we happen to get out and look at 12th West and University Light on northbound because the school's starting everything on that light working properly?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Joel went out and checked that out, and I don't think we saw any issues on that because it was a short delay, but I think that's been resolved.
It was only northbound, everything else.
Yeah.
was
Yep.
long. Thank you.
But I'll double check that and make sure we're good with school starting.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We will move to item number 7, which is a mayor's report or business. I will report just quickly on this little brochure that I have here was about water storage options in Eastern Idaho. We hosted this group. It was co-hosted by the Henry's Fork Watershed Council and the Eastern Idaho Water Rights Coalition. I guess I wouldn't say we hosted it. We supplied the venue, the Romance Theater. We had a good group there. There was probably a couple hundred people there, and talking about raising dams or building new dams or all of the different things that we could do. And it was a really good meeting because there was about everybody we could think of at the table, not only the farmers and the irrigation people, but we had the people that manage the Henry's Fork watershed, the fishery people, people that are concerned about fish, and people that are concerned about recreation, and people that are concerned about water rights and irrigation. And it was a really good meeting of people being able to talk together and helping people to understand each other's needs and concerns and all of that. And the Lieutenant Governor was here with us, and as well as just a lot of other different people that are involved in a lot of the water attorneys that are involved in a lot of the litigation and things that have happened. So it was just a really good meeting, and I think it set the stage for a lot of future meetings and opportunities for people to talk and work out these water issues, because as we know, water is a big deal. So that's something that is important for us to be able to keep on the front burner, I guess you'd say, as far as we're looking at pushing, whatever we can for more water storage options, so that we have the water we need in the future. So it's really kind of a long-term play. A lot of us will probably be gone and forgotten when a lot of these things happen, but if we don't plan for it now, then our future people will be in trouble here. So we're working on that. The item on the agenda here is we have Vanessa Johnson, who is a current member of the Planning and Zoning Board. Her 3 years first term is up. I visited with her the other day, and she was saying, wow, when you're having fun, that time goes by really fast. She was having a hard time believing it had been 3 years already. But anyway, she agreed to serve a second term. And so if the feeling is that we want to keep her on there as a member of the Planning and Zoning, we need to ratify her tonight, and then I can install her for a second term tomorrow night. So if there are no objections, then I would entertain a motion to ratify Vanessa Johnson as a member of the Planning and Zoning Board.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we ratify Vanessa Johnson as a returning member of the Planning and Zoning Board.
All right, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Chambers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Hey.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. That motion passes. We will go ahead and reinstall her. All right, moving on to item number 8A. We do have one letter that was submitted by a citizen about the concern about the lack of a sidewalk between Applebee's and the Yellowstone Highway, which is true. There is no sidewalk there, and there's a little path there that people have kind of beat down walking through the area there. And I see, yeah, we've got that up on the screen here. So typically, that is the property owner's responsibility to put that sidewalk in. Wilcox Fresh owns that property, or the Wilcox family. I'm not sure exactly which part of their business entity owns it, but it is the Wilcox family, and they haven't really indicated that they've got anything coming up there in the near future as far as any development for that piece of property. And so, I mean, I guess unless we feel like we want to do something, that I don't know that there's really too much we can do other than let it be a path. So I don't know if there's any thoughts about that. Alan, let's see, is Alan here? He's not here tonight. Keith, what are your, I mean, that's basically sums up the way it is, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's different aspects, right? When we generally with parcels, so there's kind of three different ways, right? The city can move on something. One is, right, property changes hands, we require sidewalk to go in at that point. If we're doing a street reconstruction project in that area, then we bring the sidewalks up to standards and sidewalk goes in. And then the third one is just if council deems it necessary, there's enough of demand, they can drive a sidewalk to go in.
so I don't know what your feelings are about that. If you would prefer, what's the preferred option of that situation? The sidewalk does extend now from where it showed it being kind of ending, extends down, with that the diverging diamond construction, it now extends from there down to the diverging diamond. So we've got that much more put in.
So
Is there a pedestrian crossing on that north side of the intersection at all? If you were.
On the north side, yes. You're talking about University and, or are you talking about
Highway,
Golden Beauty Drive? Sorry.
across Golden Highway. So if they're trekking across that vacant lot, how do they get across to McDonald's and Wendy, McDonald's there and that? Do they have to cross University some way to get to across?
Yeah, so you're saying if they're coming from by Applebee's?
No, yeah, the field there that's kind of highlighted. So because that's my understanding where the little track is, right?
Yeah.
So they're trucking along there. How do they get across South Yellowstone over to that next corner? Is there a pedestrian crossing on that side? I don't think I've ever noticed.
I think there is on all four. There's just not, right, the ADA ramps or anything in that corner at this point.
Okay, so is there a push button or something for them to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not showing up very well on that picture, but I don't know if that's just because they're faded or.
See the pedestrian lines right here, but.
Oh, yeah, they are pretty faded. Apparently they weren't freshly painted when that picture was taken. This probably was taken early in the spring.
Right, yep.
Yeah.
Well, there's no diverging diamonds in this overhead, so it's even older than that.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
So could we see like an estimate of what it would cost to put in that piece just at some point, just so we could kind of make an educated decision on it?
Definitely we can
Keith,
pitch in estimated. Because it'd also have to go across the railroad tracks and put in that ADA access. It wouldn't make any sense to just do it on that property. We'd need to take it across the whole thing.
Yeah, all the way to the intersection.
Yep.
And I'm assuming, Keith, if we did decide to do a sidewalk, that we could do a clawback agreement.
Yeah, there's different ways. If you wanted to look at that and fund it, or if Urban Renewal wanted to fund it and then claw it back at when development occurs, you could look at that as well.
So could we see all those options?
Keith, have you visited with Wilcox about the possibility?
Yeah, just barely today.
And was there just no interest at all?
Yeah, they weren't interested in putting in a sidewalk.
Okay.
Yeah, I see someone shaking their head. Is this a Wilcox representative? Okay.
Okay. Even with the possibility of an LID or something like that?
No, I mean, they didn't see an economic benefit for them to put it in, right? So that's right. I mean, obviously,
Developed, so
Yeah.
makes sense.
Is there curb?
yeah,
There is curb.
yeah,
isn't
there's
there?
curb there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, so it sounds like the preference of the council is to find out what the costs would be to do that, and then we can consider our options. Is that what you're thinking?
I like that.
Sound good? Okay. All right. We'll go ahead with that. See what we can do. Okay. All right. Thank you. We will move on then to item number 9, which is our second and third readings. First one is the second reading, ordinance number 1335 for the fiscal year 2025 budget amendment. We have talked about that previously. If there are any questions or discussion about that, I would suggest that you bring it up at this time. Otherwise, I would. Is there any questions or comments on that before we move forward on it from anyone? Okay, we've talked about that quite at length, I guess. So let's go ahead. I would entertain a motion to consider ordinance 1335 second read.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we consider ordinance number 1335 second read.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. We will consider that second read. Item B is the third readings. We have ordinance number 1333, which is the fiscal year 2026 budget appropriation. Is there any questions about this item before we move forward? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to consider ordinance 1333's third read.
I'll make that motion.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Colin Erickson. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Item number 2 is ordinance 1334, the Rexburg Police Facility Bond Election Ordinance to seek funding for construction of a new police facility in the November 4th, 2025 municipal election. I would entertain a motion, unless there's any questions or discussion about that, I would entertain a motion to consider ordinance 1334 third read.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we consider ordinance number 1334 third read.
All right, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Council President Walker. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will consider that third read and move that forward. We are done with those 2 items. All right, item number 10 is the consent calendar, which consists of the minutes from the August 6th, 2025 meeting and the approval of the payment of the City of Rexburg bills. Is there any questions about anything there or discussion about it? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent calendar and pay the bills.
All right, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Colin Erickson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will go ahead and enter the minutes and pay the bills. Is there anything else that council needs to bring up before we adjourn?
I just got one thing over at the nature park.
Uh-huh.
Talked about this last meeting. Around the fence around the big toy, around the area, around the play area.
The fence? Oh, is there a fence?
There's a fence around it.
Oh, you mean around on the backside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of that's down.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. I hate to have the little kids slip through there and end up in the canal.
Okay.
It's a major safety issue,
Nature park.
I think.
Okay. Just to bring up to speed a little bit too on some of those things. unfortunately, we just got the north part of Riverside Park greening up quite well. It was really, really yellow from all that construction going on over there. And I think it was yesterday, a leak erupted on the main line going down the fields there right across from the pool. And if you drive over there right now, you'll see a big hole dug with the backhoe, and they're trying to, tomorrow they're going to bring in the vac truck and suck all of the water out of the hole, try to get that fixed so that we can get the water back on as quickly as possible. So, meantime, those fields, as hot as it is, they may start turning a little yellow again. So if you start getting questions about them, that's what's going on. To be honest with you, I don't know what's going on. It seems like we've had more water line breaks this year than ever. And it's been really frustrating because it's put the parks guys so far behind on everything else they're doing because they're focusing on trying to get that, those are kind of emergency situations. So they're just working really hard to try to get that done and get that put back together and get the water going and then, get on to all of the other things that are happening. So the hockey arena, just for an update, they poured some cement, forgot to have the contractor put sleeves under the cement, so they had to have somebody come in and, bore underneath the cement in two places. They got that done just this morning, I believe, and so our water department's gonna, they've got the water line going over to there, so now they'll just need to take it through those sleeves and over to the area on the west of the arena. And then we can get that water up and running too. And then that will allow them to fill in that trench and be able to start the landscaping process around the building and make it look a lot better because they want to open here pretty quick. So, and then have their grand opening in September. So that's kind of some of the things that are going on that are more visible that you might drive by and wonder what the heck's going on there.
I was by there the other day and the ice making equipment was running.
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
got
so
ice
they-
in there.
I think.
Yeah, that's why we've been pushing to try to get that done because I think they wanted to open maybe this week and then run for a couple of weeks before they have their grand opening the first part of September, but probably going to push that back a little ways. But anyway, yeah, they're doing pretty well inside there. If we can just get the outside taken care of and get it ready to go, then we'll be in pretty good shape. So.
Where is that at the nature park?
On the northeast corner of the playground.
Would that go through Parks and Rec?
Yeah. I had a conversation with them after you had talked to me about that. The last council meeting, I'm not sure where it's at. If it's still down, I can follow up with them and
It's
see
still down.
if they're waiting on some parts or what the issue is.
Yeah, the reason I noticed it today is there was a family out there and one of the kids took off through that, where that fence is down and was headed for the canal, and the mom got to him in time, but he had somebody sneak out of there and end up.
Yep.
Yeah, now that I'll put some pressure on it.
Thank you.
Get risk management on it and it'll get done, right?
Oh.
Okay.
Combine Keith and I's voice together and it just becomes this.
I think there's anything else that would just, I can't think of really anything else we need to make everybody aware of. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your attendance here tonight. We will be adjourned. Thank you. Thanks to all of you who are here tonight. Officer Jenkins, we appreciate your attendance here with us. Brett, thank you for being here. Appreciate that as always. Okay. Hey,